Welcome to That's Canon, the podcast talking about the Canon film series and other similar movies. This is episode 44, and I'm your host, Phil.
And I'm Greg, the space vampire.
The space vampire that came from a penis-shaped spaceship.
Big dick ship. Yeah. Yes, I'm the dick vampire.
In fact, one of the first pieces of trivia on IMDb is the spaceship was modeled after a penis.
Some like special effects interns saw Alien, like, wow, there's a lot of dicks in that movie, and it did really well. I have to make more dick ships.
Dude, that's all I could think of when I saw like the aesthetic inside the spaceship and stuff. I was like, this is like H.R. Giger's cousin, Heinrich Giger, who's not really
Bobby
as
Giger.
good. Bobby Giger. Who's not nearly as good as HR, right? Like,
yeah, good old Bobby Giger. It's kind of the dollar store alien aesthetic.
it was a lot of. I wouldn't say that the movie is a direct ripoff of Alien.
No, oh no, it's compared to Alien Contamination, which I still enjoyed. It's not. It's very unique. Well, I'll put it that way. Even though we ripped on it a little bit there, I think this is. You have to give this one a lot more credit than just like an Italian ripoff. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is a very because it was a book first, and it was called like Space Vampires or something. It was like pretty out there on the nose. Yeah, the Space Vampires.
Thank God they changed that title, right?
I know. Space Vampires would be good if this was like the 50s, and people were just bad at making stuff back then, right?
Space Vampires was unique and not cringy, I guess.
Exactly. But yeah, the movie was Invasion of the Body Snatchers, it was vampires, and it was zombies, all wrapped up into one.
Wasn't expecting the zombies part, but yeah, Lifeforce. Wow, you were a weird combination of sci-fi and horror genres that it's kind of hard to pin down. We'll see why, but
it is. And the movie was directed by Tobe Hooper, or is it Tobe Hooper?
Tobe Hooper.
Toby. I never know how to say his name. Tobe Hooper. From obviously one of the biggest movies that he did was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
And it kind of like touches upon that a little bit in the beginning of Lifeforce, because John Larroquette does an intro for Lifeforce just like he did in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was a connection. That's cool.
Yep. John Larroquette he reads like that intro, like the mad and the macabre of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
And
cool.
And this is post Poltergeist.
Yes.
So I will say some of the effects in this movie were very Poltergeist-esque in certain ways.
Oh yeah, I got major Poltergeist vibes and Ghostbusters vibes too.
Yes. There was a few moments where watching this, I was like, man, they kind of stole a few things from better movies.
Yes, they did. I mean, it still looks cool, but yeah, if it's not as unique as it probably would have been even a couple years before this, because these were when did Poltergeist come out?
Poltergeist came out in 1982.
Okay, so not too far before this.
Yeah, and Lifeforce came out in 1985. Also important to note, this is pretty much an entire British production.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. They start off in the where it's like a dual British and US space mission. I was like, okay, so maybe we'll get kind of a mix, but no, we were in the UK pretty much the whole movie,
which I liked. I think there's not a lot of movies that I've seen or watched where a crux of it, or like pretty much the entire thing, takes place in England or something, unless it's a British production. So it's interesting that an American production did an entire movie set in England.
Yeah, what was the was it? Geez, Beast in the Cellar. That was another British production, right?
Yep.
And I'm sure there've been a couple
Beast
of
in
others.
the Cellar with second-rate, Golden Girls.
A bunch of weird grannies talking about their hunky dad. Ugh.
Oh man, that's a major callback right there.
Go back and listen to our back catalog, folks. If that weird phrase I just uttered makes you
Intrigues you
excited. Yes.
at all. The movie opens up with the weakest of canon group logos because it's not really even it doesn't do anything.
I
It's just
know.
there.
We went from like the full Monty Cannon intro with Hot Chili, wasted on Hot Chili, and then we just go back to just like a straight logo on this one. What a disappointment.
Yeah, very disappointing. And does that set up the feelings of the movie? I don't know, but let's keep going. Foreshadowing. Uh, we get a sweeping shot over what I assume is an asteroid or something like that. It honestly just looks like a turd.
Yeah, some kind of space foam rock.
It's interesting because the space stuff in the very beginning, because when we open up, we get a shot of a modern day space shuttle, with a couple of little science fiction-y things on it, right? To make it stand out a little bit more.
Kind of a big, like there's like a giant span of solar panels, I think is the biggest change. Like it looks like a satellite almost, just with those big satellite or those big solar panel wings, but just kind of a space shuttle smacked in the middle.
Yeah. And in the background, there's Halley's Comet crossing by. And I'll say, like, it doesn't look horrible.
No, it's a little on the cheesy side. It's not like state of the art for the 1985 era, but it's a cool style because it's like a bright green. It almost looks like it's hard to put your finger on it. It looks like a green laser almost.
Yeah.
When they scan lasers through like a smoky room and you get those kind of like swirls, that's what it kind of reminds me of.
But I'll say this, it immediately turns cheesy when you get to the interior shots of the space shuttle. It's like this giant set of the cockpit, and you have like 8-10 people all kind of just sitting around in front of Star Trek, the original motion picture era computer screens and stuff.
Big like colorful flickering lights and beep boop boop beep beep boop kind of things in the background.
Exactly. And at the very beginning, you don't really know who is going to be the main character because you go, holy shit, I don't know any of these people.
I will differ with you there. I knew who the main character was going to be because I recognized our main guy.
Really? You recognized Steve Rylsback?
I did. And you know what he was in? X-Files.
Yeah, X-Files.
He was Dwayne Barry in that two-parter.
One of the best dual episodes in X-Files history.
Oh yeah.
I think it's funny because I remember the last episode I went, dude, I don't know anyone in this episode. And you went, well, we'll get a couple Star Trek people and we'll get a couple X-Files people for sure. Holy shit, were you on the nose for this one?
I wish I could say I knew that in advance, but then like not only did they show up, but as a main character in this movie. Yes. How cool is that?
Both of them were like pretty substantial characters. They did something to progress the entirety of the movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we won't spoil the other Star Trek cameo, but we start off in the very beginning with Captain Dwayne Barry of the space shuttle.
Yeah, I almost said the Ebuchadnezzar, but that's the Matrix. The Carpathia.
No, not the Carpathia. It's the Coriolis.
That's not the Challenger.
No.
Churchill.
Churchill, yes, thank you.
Because Churchill. It's British. Winston Churchill. But yeah, we glossed over it. X-Files, the Dwayne Barry episode is so great, and it's season 2 because season 1 of the X-Files, it was good, but there was a lot of stinkers in the first season.
Yeah. It took it like a lot of those shows in the 90s. It took a first season to get its bearings, but the Dwayne Barry, like the whole first episode where he's like holding the bank people hostage, and it's just so cool. You call him Dwayne Barry a liar?
Yeah, exactly. The entire time I was watching this movie, because I didn't realize this was Dwayne Barry, I was like, this guy looks so freaking familiar.
He really does. I thought, you know
Um,
what? I thought at first he was like, he's got like a Jim Varney
yeah,
voice and look to him. I was like, I know that's not Jim Varney, but damn, it looks and sounds just like him. It's Slinky Dog.
I'm very surprised that he didn't have a bigger career overall.
Yeah,
He
it's kind of
still
like a
acts
character
to this
actor.
day, but yeah, he's a lot of those guys' moments.
Yeah. Lifeforce just wasn't the big break he was looking for, I guess.
That's for sure. So
No surprise
as
there.
all of these nameless, faceless astronauts are floating through space with Dwayne Barry, they come upon Halley's Comet and they notice that there's a dick-shaped spaceship trailing behind it. And I'm not even like it. My wife watched this with me and she was like, hey, that radar thing looks like a dick. And I was like, it does. So
It's not just us who got the sense of humor of like a teenage boy, but when your wife is like, nah, that's a dick.
yeah.
It's legit.
So as they get closer to the spaceship, they go out of theirs. They do, what do they call, like EVA? Essentially, they're in their spacesuits. And they're transporting from one spaceship to the other,
And
right?
even this, like it again, it looks cheesy, but it's a really cool aesthetic. Like all like the really harsh green light of the comet, and like I think there's some red light too as they kind of like go into the ship. It's
Yep,
the lighting, it's very stylized. It almost looks like it reminded me of Creepshow, like the really like bright primary color lighting.
exactly. Like where it takes up the entire panel, if you
Yeah,
will, or the
yeah,
entire
exactly. The
pane.
entire frame, yeah.
Yep. As they're going down into the ship and it transitions from the green light to the red light,
Mm-hmm.
the one of the characters says, this seems very familiar to me. And I was like, yeah, because it's a birthing canal. If you look at it, it's red. It
Oh.
has like ripples in it and stuff like that. I
I
was
was
like,
wondering if they were going for like internal organs, because the inside of walls of the ship, you could, yeah, like you said earlier, like it has that kind of like organic mechanical mix look to it, but it definitely looked like intestines
yep.
almost. It was kind of I see what they were going for. You got to give a little credit to it.
Oh, definitely. Bobby Giger, the set designer. I
Hey, I'm
mean, he,
Bobby Giga. You want
hey,
some intestines?
I got it. Look at this. This tunnel. It looks like a vagina.
It looks like a tunnel, a vagina tunnel with a sphincter in there.
And but again, everything is undercut because as soon as they get through the tunnel and they get into this very moody, very well lit area, it's full of fucking space bats. And it turns almost laughable.
Yeah, because again, it was a little cheesy, but the movie had me up until this point because the ship, there was there was a distinct style here that they were trying to go for, and I can respect that. But as soon as you see these giant, like people-sized bat humanoids, they just looked like puppets, and I was like, oh come on, movie, you had me there, you lost me.
They look like puppets, and because you're in space and there's no like breeze or anything like that, they're just suspended, lifeless, dull
Yeah,
puppets.
they look like marionettes hanging on a store shelf.
Yes, exactly. Uh so they start bagging one up because they're gonna take it back and do science space stuff with it. Um
They're gonna put it in that, like, remember in Alien Contamination where they put the rat in like the glass case and then they just blew it
yes,
up for no reason?
exactly. That's what I want. I want them to start blowing up.
Which they kind of did later.
Muppet bat
Muppet bats getting blown up with just raspberry jam in the middle. Mm.
as they get done bagging one up, a hole opens up in the spaceship and it's brightly lit and they're all like, hey, let's go check this out. This isn't ominous at all. And as they get into it, it's again like a really neat set. There's like pillars and very like geometric shapes.
Yeah,
And
like
then
crystals almost, like the inside of a geode.
it almost reminds me of, or remember, damn it, I can't think of the movie. they they go through the wormhole in space, but they actually go through hell. Final
Event Horizon.
Destination, Event Horizon. Oh my god,
Yeah.
Final
Final
Destination.
Destination.
It that looks like the room where the machine inside of it, right? It has like all the spikes and
Oh
stuff. It's very
yeah.
geometric.
Like the engine room from Event Horizon, where it's like it almost looks crystalline, metallic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, again, really great design in this room.
And then as they get in, they find three people trapped in like a crystal. I want to say like pretty much a coffin. It's a crystal coffin,
Yeah.
and they're completely naked. Now you don't see the guy. There's two guys and one girl. You don't see the guy's ding dongs, but the woman, you see the full Monty of it.
Boy, do
She's
you see it and continue
and
to see it.
I will say this: if you are squeamish about female nudity, boy, oh boy, are you gonna hate Life Force? Because Matilda May, who plays Space Girl, almost all of her scenes are completely nude.
Boy, yeah. What a champ. Like, she must have been cold as shit shooting this movie, because you're not kidding. I mean, I think I was saved for two very specific, very short scenes I can think of off the top of my head. She is completely 100% nude in every single scene, and she's in the movie a lot. She's
Yes.
the main character.
Uh,
So
when she first auditioned for Life Force, she couldn't speak English. She had to say all of her lines phonetically, and then she had to learn her lines. It took her like 6 weeks to do it.
she's
Um,
uh Dutch, French.
she is French.
Okay.
She's from Saint Ouen, France. Boy, oh boy, if we have a French listener, I have no fucking clue how to say these things.
We're so sorry.
Yeah. Uh, and also, just a little bit of trivia because there's a lot of trivia for this. So I'm not going to say it at the end like I normally do.
Pepper it in there.
So I guess from what I've read, when she was auditioning for Life Force, Tobe Hooper was like, you gotta, since you're gonna be fully nude, we want you essentially waxed right from top to bottom. And then
What a weird request to make of an actor.
so when they started filming, everyone was like, Toby, this looks fucking weird. We cannot do this. There has to be some kind of pubic hair down there because it
Yeah.
looks weird. So then they had like film everything else in order for her to regrow. Yeah,
Really.
it was just really weird that
I see, I can see what he was going for. Like, it's supposed to be an alien who's like taking a human shape. So, but she has hair on her head, so the fact that she'd be like hairless from the neck down makes no sense.
it doesn't. I don't know what was going on there with Tobe Hooper. I will say this. I'll say my thoughts of Tobe Hooper right now. He's an extremely lazy director. He gets by on the shoulders that he stands on. And I honestly don't think that he has any flair whatsoever. And I believe the rumor that he really didn't direct Poltergeist, that it's actually a Steven Spielberg film.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too, and since you brought it up now, I'll mention it. Like, yeah, I for a long time I was kind of thinking that Tobe Hooper kind of got a bad rap for that whole Poltergeist thing. Like, oh, like Steven Spielberg really directed it. He was just kind of in the room, but not really doing anything. After seeing this, I can sort of believe those rumors a little bit more. Like, if this was all him, it kind of makes me think, like, how did the Poltergeist guy come to this? You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Uh,
So
it's very, all the shots feel like he put the camera down and went, okay, act. Like the camera doesn't move that much. Nothing looks very cinematic. So they don't maximize their sets that well.
no, especially not these alien spaceship ones, which were extremely well designed, and even the parts where they discover the woman alien and the two men aliens, like, it's such a cool scene, but we're in and out of there so quick, and yeah, we don't get any like nice camera movements, and we don't get to like soak in the ambiance.
Yeah.
It just seems so rushed.
Yes. 100%. As our space men get closer to the people the aliens encased in their crystal coffins, you get a sense of unease as the men are looking at the women, because you can tell that they're visibly aroused by what they're looking at, right? Like like the old guy pretty much looks like he's about to faint. He's so like turned on
old
about it.
old guy astronaut has the vapors.
I'll say this: a lot of the men fetishize the woman in the film for good reason, I guess, in the film, because she's extremely beautiful. But you never get that sense with the men.
No,
It's not like the two guys that are also nude aliens. None of the women in the spaceship.
have that same like reaction,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
I was kind of expecting to happen, because like I mean we'll get ahead of ourselves here, but we'll mention it here. Like the whole idea of these aliens, like they're like that's that magnetism, that sexual and like kind of like pheromone magnetism, like that's part of their shtick. Like that's how they hunt basically, and that's how they lure in victims, is through that magnetism. Like you'd think that we would see it happening to both the men and the women in the crew,
Yeah,
but we don't. It's just the main lady who seems to affect the men that way. It's a cool idea, but it seems wasted almost.
it does. And as the men, as you say, get the vapors, we cut to a
Oh,
black title card that says 30 days later, because there's nothing more exciting than being told that time has passed. Uh,
uh,
and we cut to the NASA of England. Yeah, for lack of a better term, we cut to
oh,
whatever
it's
the
NASA, eh?
I, how's it going? We got some astronauts up there,
Got some space going on up there.
but that's pretty much pretty much is what it is. I can't think of what the character's name is, and I don't know what his actual name is, but he has a pretty thick British accent, and he's like, hey, yeah, the space shuttle's off course and it's not going to land where we expect it to.
Right.
Let's send up another spaceship to intercept them, and we'll check out what's going on. And that's what they do. Like, first off,
Yes.
as I've lived in Florida, spaceships are just not ready to go like that. It takes months of planning and preparation in
Oh
order
yeah.
to get like spaceships to go up.
Yeah, the
But
shuttle's
they're
like,
on it,
yeah,
Johnny on the spot.
it's the future. Ooh. But
um
did you catch which shuttle went up to go?
no, which one was it?
It was the Columbia. That
Oh,
was
really?
that. Yeah, that wasn't that one. Not the Challenger, obviously. We know about that disaster, but I think
Yeah,
Columbia was the other one that disintegrated on reentry
a
back in the
re-entry.
2000s.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's horribly sad. But it's like as soon as you saw that, it's like that same feeling you get when you see the Twin Towers in movies that were pre 9/11.
Yep,
It just like it's like that little bit of sadness, kind of like, oh, like you, it kind of takes you out of the movie a little bit. Unfortunately, I had that same reaction here when you hear Columbia.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's always weird when there's, I guess, an event or something that was there that's now gone, and then you get taken out of the movie, and it's no
Yeah.
fault to the movie itself because it was
No,
made at
yeah.
a different time.
How could they have known? Yeah. It's a weird little like historical mark it leaves on things. Just kind of an interesting little tonal shift for me.
But as the other astronauts enter the Chesterfield,
The the shit, we already forgot
the
the
Westwood,
Churchill.
the Churchill, they realize that everything inside of it has been burned to a crisp, and there's nothing but mystery and
It's so cool. I,
floaties.
I love a good derelict ghost ship, right? I talk about Event Horizon. I love that stuff.
And aren't you glad that they spent absolutely no time investigating the mystery of it?
No.
We see a couple charred bodies that look really cool,
Yeah, they did.
and they take out a VCR tape. It look
I asked the backup Betamax.
yeah. And then as they get into the cargo hold, they see the three naked bodies inside of it.
Completely untouched.
Yes, exactly. Completely untouched by the fire that has ravaged the spaceship. As we cut back to England, we're in a room full of stuffy British people that are all talking about how horribly charred the space shuttle is, and they're
Well,
just
what's
like,
all this then?
they're like, yeah, they're like, what happened? What's going on? They're like, I don't know, but we found these naked people inside of there, and we get our main British guy. He's watching the security cameras that's directly looking at the naked woman, Space Girl. That is actually
Yeah,
her credited name in the film, Space
Space
Girl.
Girl. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew we didn't get a name, but you think like space vampire or lead vampire or something, not
Or
space girl,
pretty much only vampire.
right?
But as they watch Space Girl, a random security officer guard goes in there because he gets the attraction. He's overly sexually attracted to her.
He can't help himself. He's just gotta bust in there through like zero security precautions for this alien.
Exactly.
Ugh.
And I mean, I got to say, Matilda May, she doesn't say a lot in this film, but she conveys a lot through her face and emotions. And she does a pretty damn good job of conveying, I'm
Oh yeah.
down to clown.
Oh,
Like,
it's in like a creepy way. It's
yes,
really well done, really well cast. I feel like because they put these great contact lenses on her eyes, so her eyes are like almost all black or like that really dark brown. She just has a really, and the way they light her, it's just a really creepy look, and the way she stares at these guys as she lures them in, she does a great job.
she stares with the intent of sexuality, but with a vacancy in her eyes that she's not really there.
Yeah, which
And
is
if
a
this is
lot to
what
convey
if
in
this
just
is
a
what
look.
Matilda May actually looks like, I'm sorry, but you did a really good job of doing of showing sexual attraction with no interest in the sex behind it.
I like the idea that she does this in real life, but not intending to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like these guys like the grocery store bagger. He's walking to her across the grocery store. No, oh god damn it, happening! It's happening again.
Exactly. Not
Not
again.
again. Damn it.
As our main British guy is watching the security cameras, he sees Matilda May and the guard embrace in a kiss. And she kisses with her eyes open, so you know it's creepy. And then they use the recycled effects from Poltergeist of when the ghosts come down the stairs. Just blue random shit. The life force, if you will, being transferred from the guy to the girl.
So cool.
And as our main British man walks into the room, the guard falls into his hand, and he's just a husk. He's like what you feel like after a night of binge drinking and you haven't drank water. Exactly. Uh
He looks like the effect when he's getting the life sucked out of it is awesome. It's like that scene in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where the one of the Nazi guys gets the life sucked
yep,
out of him by the Holy Grail, the wrong one.
exactly. Yes.
Looks really good.
And then Matilda May, the space girl, turns her attention on the main British guy. And so what I thought was funny though is that there's also another British guy watching security cameras, and he does essentially the same thing. Like he runs away
Yeah.
to get
Like
downstairs.
you'd think that okay, this is a major nitpick, but these are aliens. Wouldn't you think that they'd be under like the highest of high security with like big red alarm buttons everywhere within reach? Like, why would you not just hit those alarm buttons as soon as you see this alien who you thought was dead up and walking around and sucking the life out of people? You
I
kidding
don't
me?
it's it's pretty lazy if you ask me.
I mean, I guess they like it is lazy because they need the movie to happen, so they can't go like sound the alarm and have it all get locked down because then she would never leave. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Oh yeah, 100%. And I think that's I don't want to say I think that's why they put it in England, but there's not a lot of guns in this film, and it seems like you could have stopped these space vampires really easier if this was like set in a an American military
Oh
installation,
yeah,
right?
like Area 51, super mega lockdown in the deepest sub basement in the desert. with cement,
Exactly.
like vault doors and stuff. Like, whereas here in the European Space Agency, she's just like locked in an office building, basically.
In like downtown London.
In downtown London. Uh,
Um,
totally not risky.
but the other guy, his character's name is Dr. Hans Fallada. He's played by Frank Finley, who was Porthos in the Three Musketeers movie in the 70s.
Oh.
He's an actor that has spanned multiple decades, so he is a classically trained British actor, and I thought he was pretty good in the film.
Yeah,
Very believable.
Professor Exposition, as I called him.
Exactly, pretty much.
Because he's pretty much, anytime they needed to explain what the hell was going on, they gave the lines to this guy.
Yes. And as he walks in, main British guy is still alive for some reason. We're not really given a reason why he was spared.
Yeah.
And then Professor Exposition calls the guards, and he's like, "Hey, there's going to be a naked woman running around. We got to stop her from exiting the building." And immediately it cuts to the oldest guard. Yeah, I mean, he's got 1 foot in the grave, if not 2.
Yeah, he's like half a day from he's like 1 donut away from a heart attack.
Yeah. He sees the naked woman just like casually saunter by. He's like, "Oh man, naked women." And then it cuts to 2 goober security guards. And they're like, "We're on the lookout for a naked woman. Whoa.
That's gotta be a joke, eh?"
And then immediately, because there's nothing better than great comedic timing, the space girl comes walking down the stairs. And again, they're just like goobers. They're like, "Whoa, she's naked."
Yeah, all bug-eyed and like just the worst. Like, this is a dangerous alien.
Yeah.
Take this shit seriously, you idiots.
And the one guard comes up with like a biscuit or something, and he's like trying to feed it like a dog.
Like she's a dog. He's like, because she stops at the stairs and I guess he thinks that she's looking at the cookie, and he's trying to lure her down the stairs with the half-eaten cookie.
It's so weird.
It's like she's a dog. I mean, come on, dude.
She then uses the force to like choke him.
Good.
And then she knocks the other one away. And then she force shatters all the glass in the Space Research Center and walks off into the night, into the foggy distance of the London British landscape.
Yeah, you think like it's downtown London. Why are they surrounded by countryside?
I don't know. It's so weird. Geography is so weird in this movie. But as she walks off into the night, we get Colonel Colin Kane, because there's nothing better than having a character with the name that sounds exactly the same twice.
Alliteration. Gotta love it.
Colonel Colin Kane, played by Peter Firth. He's been in The Hunt for Red October. He's been in a couple other really big British TV series, MI5, a couple other American productions. One that I thought was really weird is, did you know that there was a TV series for Total Recall?
No, really?
Total Recall 2070.
That must have gotten canceled right away.
Yeah, it made it like 22 episodes. It made it like 1 season.
When was that?
Though, right? It was made in 1999. So it's probably around the time like USA was doing all those shitty TV shows, like, what is it? I don't know. Pick any. What's that blonde woman's name? She was in Playboy. She was really popular in the 90s. She was in Baywatch. Stuff like that. Like just crap syndicated TV shows. What's the one with the dolphin? And Roy Scheider. Deep Space Quest. Deep Quest. Sequest.
Yeah, Deep Space Quest. We got there, folks.
It's in space, I think. It's like space dolphins or something.
What the hell was the name of that shuttle again? The churchmonger?
If you just start saying words, eventually you'll get there.
Sammy Swampson Samsonite.
Samsonite's on the briefcase. But yeah, we get Colonel Colin Kane, who is part of the SAS, which I think is British Secret Service. It's like,
Yeah, I
but it's called
guess.
like Sea and Air Service, and it's all hush hush because he's like, I'm with the SAS, but no one gets to know that.
Yeah.
And this guy has one mode, and it's uninteresting. I don't,
Serious business mode.
I don't know about you, but Peter Firth, he kind of came off. I wouldn't say that he was bored doing the film, but his character is very boring.
Yeah, I think he kind of got shafted as like the straight man in this whole thing because everyone else around him is either too much in the know, like Professor Exposition. So someone's going to be around to like ask the questions and be concerned. And that's kind of where he gets shoehorned in, but he's not crazy either. He's like a voice of reason.
He's Scully, but a Scully that has nothing to do.
Boring male Scully. There we go.
Boring. Yeah. What would be Dana Scully, right? So he would be like Dan Scully.
Scunty.
Scunty. Dan. I'm Dan Scunty.
Skunky.
FBI. But he starts questioning everyone. And he kind of comes off as condescending at points because he's like, so the naked girl killed this guy, and how do you know that? And everyone's like, because we saw it on the security cameras.
Yeah.
And he's just always seems like he's kind of double questioning everyone's motives until he just doesn't. It's not like he's convinced. It's just because the dialogue just changed, right?
Yeah. I'm glad that you got that same impression because I thought for a while when he first showed up that he was going to turn out to be evil somehow or like a plant by the vampires, like someone the lady had secretly gotten to before she pieced out of the office building.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to, that's who he was going to be based on his like constant skepticism, but no, he's just a regular secret agent guy, I guess.
And him and the main British guy bond immediately to the point where it's like, do you guys have like a background with each other? Because immediately they're always down to do whoever comes up with an idea, right?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we need to go over here. Oh, okay. Oh, we need to do that. You got it. And it's just kind of weird.
Where's that skepticism, my guy?
Yeah. We cut back down to the basement where the two naked dudes are still in their crystal coffins, and they awake. And I gotta say, this part made me laugh because Jackie was like, how come we don't get to see their dicks? And I was like, it's because it's a Western production, and they really don't show dong in those.
Again, like that's what we needed was the same kind of like primal sexual magnetism happening with the guys and like a female guard or a nurse or a doctor or some female cast member,
even just a guy.
Or a guy too. Like that would be really kind of cool, is if it was so powerful that it affected everyone regardless of like gender or sexual orientation.
Exactly.
You just could not stop yourself. That would be cool.
I almost thought it was going to go that way because when the guards are protecting them in their crystal coffins, like they keep looking at them. And I thought maybe the dialogue was going to go like, kind of like, oh man, they're kind of attractive. And I never really felt that way about a guy before. But no,
that would be cool.
It doesn't.
Like them like almost being confused by it and kind of like almost trying to repress the feeling, but they can't help themselves. They're just like, because I thought that too. There was like two guards and one of them was kind of gawking at them a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Another missed opportunity.
But instead we get loud explosion. The men wake up and the two British dudes just start blowing them away with guns, not with their mouths.
I mean, we get a couple good squibs like off the chest and they're just kind of walking like Terminator. And then they just start throwing grenades and I guess that blew them to smithereens.
And that's the scene. And Professor Exposition and Colin Firth come downstairs and they're just like, yeah, you guys blew them up. Okie dokie.
Guess we don't got to worry about these ones.
They even said they're like, their body parts are all over the place. Like, we don't know who's who.
Oh yeah, we get that thing where like we don't see the body, we just see them like looking at the pieces all over the room. Like we just see their gaze go all over the place.
Which my dumbass immediately was like, oh, okay, I guess we'll never see them again.
Oh, I bought it too. I
Because
hook,
I
line,
was
and
like, they're
sinker.
so focused on the woman that why would we? This was just a reason to get rid of the guys.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought I was already kind of disillusioned with the movie enough that I could buy that they just tried to dispense with the male vampires as quickly as they could.
And we cut back to an operating theater where they're about to do oh shit, what do you call it? Like when you look
Like
at
an
a dead
autopsy.
body? An autopsy of the extremely dehydrated guy who got the life force sucked out of him.
Right, that first guard.
And boy, oh boy, does that fucking dummy look great.
Oh, it's so cool. Again, I think we talked about this at the end of the last episode where like when we made the banner for the podcast, that guy is like front and center, the
Yeah,
animatronic. It's just so cool, especially when you start seeing it move and do all that cool stuff and like articulate in the face and the eyelids and the mouth and the lips. It just looks awesome. A lot
it
of work
does.
went into that.
I gotta say, like, there's that and the one in Return of the Living Dead when they have the zombie with like
Oh
half the body
yeah.
and she's like, it hurts, it's
It hurts to be
painful.
dead.
Yeah. Those two fucking top notch.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they get close with the circular saw to start doing the autopsy, the dummy's eyes open. And I mean, I gotta tell you, it looks real.
Yeah, for a split second there, I wasn't sure if it was an animatronic or a person in a suit. I mean, it became obvious pretty shortly after, but for a second there with those eyes, it looked like a guy with prosthetics on.
Yep. The dummy's arms reach out to one of the doctor, and I guess the sexual attraction of a rotting corpse is too much. And the life force starts transferring from the doctor to the dummy. And I gotta say, this transference scene is great. The doctor is being emaciated, and the dummy is starting to turn back into a human
Yeah,
being.
it's such a great effect. It's almost like juicy. Like his face starts to like drip and get like a glistening almost like look to it as the flesh kind of like fills in and almost like inflates from the inside. It is awesome. Look great.
Tobe Hooper was like, we need to do the reverse shot of the poltergeist. We need to start with a face that's emaciated and then make it full. How do we
Yeah,
do that? Right? He's just like, let's use the same gag, but do it in reverse. But it
just
looks great in this film.
yeah. I honestly don't know how they did it. I think it was probably a combination of like silicone bladders under like the skin of the animatronic plus like some I couldn't tell, maybe there's some stop motion in there too. I'll have to go back and
Yeah,
rewatch it.
looked great. Uh, but essentially, like, uh, Professor Exposition's like, oh, well, it's been 2 hours. So
Oh
I
my
guess
god.
they need to eat every 2 hours. So put these people in cages because we're going to check up on them in 2 hours.
I mean, great deduction there, Sherlock. Like how how would you possibly make that inference on one example? You have
That
no
is
idea.
Batman level detecting.
Oh yes, yes, it is. Dr.
Uh,
Exposition Batman.
I mean, you've seen, have you ever seen Batman the movie? It's like what goes up white and comes down yellow and white. An egg. How do you divide 17 apples among 16 people? Make applesauce. Like the riddles just don't make sense. How the fuck are you getting to these conclusions?
These outrageous leaps of logic that no human being could possibly make.
Exactly. But this Professor Exposition is able to get it down pat. Um,
Hell yeah.
the next scene is I've ranked them my second to first. It's runner up. It's silver medal of
Oh,
my
okay.
favorite scene, mainly because we get another amazing emaciated corpse,
Right.
and Colonel Kane and the police are talking to these two kids, and they're like, how did you find the body? And they're like, well, there was this naked girl and with this other girl, and we thought they were going to be lesbians with each other, and we wanted to watch them.
It's so like brutally honest. They're like,
Yeah,
yeah, we thought they were gonna get it on, so we wanted to like snoop on them. It's just what
100%.
These
I would
scumbags, but you almost got to respect them for being honest.
you got it exactly. I was like, you got to respect the fact that they're honest. But I never, if this was me and you, and we're like, oh hey, I think those chicks are gonna, and they what ended up dying, I'd be like, we're never gonna tell the cops. This is why we were peeping. Like, like how weird.
We don't want our shame to be on the police record forever.
Exactly. It's just so weird to think that they were just so on Front Street of we thought they were gay
Yeah.
and that they were gonna do stuff. Um,
What a bunch of creeps.
but Professor Exposition's there to say that this happened an hour ago and this body's gonna wake up in an hour. So everything is aligning for this showcase of effects that's about to come up because we cut back to London NASA and everyone is there assembled watching all of the corpses and people that they've put into cages, and they're looking at their watches, essentially doing a countdown.
Yep.
And we see the first emaciated guy who came back to life. He starts like freaking out. It's almost like he has rabies or something like that.
Yeah, because he looks normal at this point. Because he after
Yeah.
he life sucked the surgeon, he kind of went back to normal, but he was still kind of like he's kind of rabid almost. Oh, sorry, I'll let you finish since it was your runner up.
No, you're right. I mean, he looks rabid, and then essentially he emaciates again after 2 hours, right?
Almost on the dot.
And then Professor Exposition fucking pokes him with a stick, and he's like, "Yeah, they're dust."
He does. I thought that was so like the least scientific thing you can do. He turns back into beef jerky, and he just like pokes him with a stick.
He turns into beef jerky, exactly. But the next part was really weird because the doctor who got emaciated, he's like up and walking around, and then he just explodes into dust, pretty much.
Yeah, he sees him, the doctor's watching him, Professor Exposition and the other guys. He sees like himself being watched, and he starts to like reach out for them because clearly he's got to do a life-sucking thing to stay alive. And then he just like sprints at the cage door and just like cheese graters himself on the door and like showers Professor Exposition in vampire dust.
Okay,
it's so cool.
It's weird though, because I get that he hit the bars and he blew up, right? But now we cut to the female corpse, and she's on a surgical bed, strapped down,
right,
thrashing like she's listening to metal music. And then she just fucking randomly explodes. She doesn't hit anything.
No, yeah. You get that. It's like, okay, it's the 2 hour mark. And right on the dot, she starts writhing around. Yeah, like you said. And then did the animatronic also kind of inflate, or was it just already looking
It was just
deformed?
emaciated. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, then it just explodes in like like dust and, cloud and ash and all that stuff.
Why didn't the first guy explode? I know Professor Exposition poked him with a stick and dust came out, but why didn't he explode?
I don't know. The rules of how
exactly
the vampire sickness transfers and what happens and when, it's really, they play it fast and loose, and there's really no rules.
Oh man, and this is what pissed Jackie off the most, because they started immediately breaking their own rules when it came to the vampires in this movie.
Because you'd think that they would follow the lead of the first guy, where like if they go too long without feeding, they just kind of waste away and collapse. And that would track with the bat people they found in the spaceship too, who you assume the same thing happened to them. They just had gone so long in space without feeding that they just kind of withered up.
Yep.
Right? Not exploded
so.
into, I don't know, fireplace ash, basically.
Pretty much. But don't worry, because a escape pod from the Churchill has landed, and inside is Dwayne Barry from the X-Files. That's right. Steve Rylsbeck is back, and he's back in action. He's alive. And for a guy who's been stranded out in space for, I would say, a couple of days, he looks great. Doesn't look like he's emaciated.
He's got a beard, but that's about it.
But it's immediately gone. I love it. I always love it when like I got to get back in uniform. I better shave and shit like that. Just like these weird military things. But Ryle's back, and Colonel Kane immediately starts questioning Dwayne Barry, and he's like, "What happened to the spaceship? What happened there? Space vampires and stuff like that." And he immediately just starts spilling his guts that essentially everyone
Yeah.
in the spaceship is going through exactly what everyone in London is going through. They're really horny for these people, and they get their life force sucked out of them.
Yeah. I like I just hate so much that they explained what happened on the space shuttle. It was such a that's why I like ghost ships like that, where it's like you have to piece together what happened through the eyes of the characters, but you never get an overt explanation of exactly what happened beat by beat. But that's exactly what we get here, and it's so unfulfilling.
It's so lazy.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's lazy. They're like, "Oh, this guy did that and that guy did this and this is why that happened."
Yeah.
And it's kind of like sometimes mystery is better when we don't have the answer
Yeah.
to the
All
mystery.
we've got is kind of the unreliable, like, half truths
Yeah.
of the one guy who survived, but he's kind of not in his right mind, so you don't know if you can believe him or not. But no, we get like straight up visual flashback of the entire event. It'd be one thing
And
if they just like him telling it through a couple lines, but you don't see the visuals, you just see the characters, the British guys like reacting to it. But no, we just get the whole thing right up on Front
yeah,
Street.
or if it happened over time instead of all of it happening at once.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they pretty much say like, yeah, everyone died, and then Dwayne Barry lit the space bat on fire, which blew up the spaceship, and he ejected into outer space. That's like 5 minutes, 6 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it's a long little flashback that we get there.
Um, but Dwayne Barry, he's asleep, and he gets sleep horniness. He gets like a dream of Matilda May, and they're embracing and schmoozing, and I gotta say, like, it's very well lit, and it looks
Yeah,
neat, and it has like a strobing effect while they're making love, and you can definitely tell that Dwayne Barry's character is enjoying it, but he's also freaking out
kind of
as
afraid of it.
well.
Yeah.
um
and
and
and this is one of the two scenes where vampire lady has found some clothes for like
yes.
and then for like half a second, and then she gets in bed with Dwayne Barry in the dream, and then they're gone again.
Dwayne Barry wakes up. His face is drenched in sweat, but his shirt is bone dry.
Is it really?
Yes, I don't know if you noticed that.
I
That
didn't. That's bad.
really upset me. And then essentially this sets up that he has a psychic connection with Space Girl,
Right.
and he's able to see through her eyes, and knows when she's around. And Professor
Yeah.
Exposition's like, let's hypnotize you so you can have a better psychic connection with Space Girl, and then we can figure out where she's at.
It's
Because
weird. Like they did that hypnotism thing in X-Files also, and
yeah,
somehow it didn't feel as cheesy there.
I think it's because it's just so lazy.
Yeah. Like,
They had Space Girl walk off into London naked. It should be really easy to track a naked woman, especially a beautiful naked woman like this, and they don't follow that thread.
no, yeah, you think like that's what they would do to go and try to find her, is try to like following the trail of people seeing this beautiful naked woman walking around without clothes. Like that would be more interesting, or like following the trail of victims. But no, we go the lazy route, and we activate this psychic homing beacon in Dwayne Barry through hypnosis, so
Yeah.
we don't have to leave the office building to shoot.
I mean, like, think of it when what's the fuck me American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Like, there's these scenes of violence and investigation, and we follow the kid who is the werewolf and stuff, and it's very interesting, and you're never not interested in what's happening. But here we spend so much time away from Space Girl, uh probably to build the mystery of what she's doing or what her
Yeah.
overall motives are, that she ultimately just becomes boring,
Yeah,
right?
I think you hit on something there. I think that's probably what they were trying to do, was to like ease off the gas on showing her and what she's doing, to like try and build mystery, but it ends up just grinding the movie to a halt, because through this whole middle half where we spent all our time with Dwayne Barry and the British Doctor guys, and like we spend so much time not seeing what she's doing that we almost forget about the threat, and it just gets so slow.
Yep, it just peters off.
Mm-hmm.
Because think of like, especially because this is still the early 80s, and I would assume London, just like New York was in the 80s, is still a little bit grimy. What they could have gone with it,
Mm-hmm.
Especially as attractive as Matilda May was, and she's trying to suck life force out of people to stay alive and for her ultimate goal, which is kind of unrealized. I still don't really know what the goal is of the film.
Me neither.
But no, instead we get some ham-fisted, she can jump bodies, and now she's in the body of a ginger woman.
Which it feels like there were scenes missing there. Like why wouldn't they give us the scene of her, the redheaded lady walking through a park, or I don't know, anywhere in an alley, like on the street, anywhere, just like show her running into alien lady and thinking like, oh, like, are you okay? Like, where are your clothes? Like, and then getting body jumped. You know what I mean? Like, show us that. That would be cool.
This redheaded lady, she's in the middle of a fucking field.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of nowhere. I don't get how they get from London to here.
Yeah, she's like way the hell out in the sticks. So just, okay, yeah, show her out for a hike with her dog or something, and then alien girl creeps out of the bushes and ambushes her.
Alien girl's
something.
Like, she's like, bark, bark. Like, what?
Bark, bark, I'm a dog.
I'm a dog. Come pet me.
Just kidding.
That is the movie that I want to see.
I am how you say dog. Blah, blah, bark, bark.
Space vampire. So Dwayne Barry is seeing all of this psychic things. He sees that the redheaded woman is doing sexual advances on some British farmer, some old dude. And
old dude thinks he's getting lucky, but
yeah. So and then he sees like the license plate number, and they start doing investigation. And because there's nothing more tense than immediately finding out the answer for all of the mystery, they immediately find the answer to everything about all of the mysteries. And they're like, oh yeah, this guy, he's actually up here, and blah blah blah, like we have to go up to this part of England to get to him.
They immediately know where everyone is because of this like psychic MacGuffin power that Dwayne Barry has, where he, like you said, he sees through the eyes of the vampire lady who's in the ginger lady, who can see the license plate of the guy she's stalking, and then they follow the license plate, and then they follow the car guy's lead to the redhead's house, and she tells him that, oh, I got body jumped into someone else who's at the psychiatric hospital. Like, it's just such a clean, like, point A to B to C, that they're never at a loss for information, which takes all the fun out of it.
And then as Colonel Kane and Dwayne Barry are preparing to leave to find the ginger woman, Professor Exposition is visited by a guard, and because the camera lingers just a little bit too long, you realize that Professor Exposition is in danger. Because what a way to telegraph what's happening, right? Don't leave any mystery for your viewers. As we get to the hospital, the criminally insane, we are met by Jean-Luc Picard.
Make it so, number one.
I was like, holy shit.
Oh yeah, I about fell out of my chair.
I was 100% convinced that you fucking looked at the IMDb cast list, because I was like, fucking Greg said someone from Star Trek was going to be in this. It's fucking Patrick Stewart.
I wish I had made it up and knew ahead of time, but we got Dwayne Barry and Picard himself.
Yes.
In this movie, the two shows that we reference most often as, that guys from these crappy movies showing up in our favorite TV shows, Picard himself as the head doctor of the psychiatric hospital.
And the movie is in 1984. Lifeforce. I want to say 1985. Mm-hmm. He still looks so fucking old.
I think it's like he's got he's obviously bald on top, but I think it's because he's got the gray hair
Yeah.
around the like on the sides and the back that makes him look much older. I think even older than he looks in TNG because it keeps the hair much more like, tightly cropped in TNG. So you don't see the
Yes.
gray as much.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a more tight horseshoe haircut
Yeah.
in TNG, and here he's kind of like strutting with his bald head out. But yeah,
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart.
Man.
What
So what a talent. He
I
was great
know
as this doctor.
he
Was this
is. His voice is so iconic too.
oh yeah, like when I sent you, so just kind of give you behind the scenes here, everyone. I as soon as he showed up, I messaged Phil on Discord and said, "Holy shit, it's Picard." When I sent you that, I actually heard his voice before I saw his face. Like you
Oh
can't
yeah,
mistake it.
you can't. Nope. It's just one of those voices.
So
Uh,
was this before he did Dune?
this was after Dune
After
came out in
Dune?
1984.
Okay, so not too far behind. So he's starting his movie career at this point.
He started his career in 1964.
In film or in theater?
His first credited TV series role is in 1964.
Oh shit. I am
Yeah.
an idiot.
Um,
Off by a couple decades.
this is his first on-screen kiss, though.
Aha. So yeah, take us through this interesting scene that
This
culminates in a tender kiss.
okay, so first off, they get Jean-Luc Picard and this nameless Shemp that's with Dwayne Barry and Colonel Kane just ushers Picard away. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's his scene. Like I knew this was pretty early, like in,
Hmm.
I guess his
Mainstream film
major
roles, yeah.
motion picture. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, that can't be it. And then, but the scene gets so fucking weird, I think, because Dwayne Barry and Colonel Kane find the ginger, and Dwayne Barry just starts beating her, and he's like, she's a masochist. She loves this stuff. She wants me to beat him. She wants me to beat her. She's getting off on this. And I was like, what the hell are we watching right now?
Yeah, and she doesn't say a word either, which makes it even
No.
creepier.
Um, and it turns out that Space Girl is not in her anymore.
Right. She
So Dwayne Barry just sexually assaulted this woman.
no, Phil. He's a psychic. It's okay.
If he's such a fucking psychic, Greg, he should have known.
Right? Like, it's just an awkward scene.
It
The
is
poor
because
actress.
Dwayne Barry even says, all I need is someone to touch me, just incidentally touch me, and I can see into their mind, right?
Yep.
And as soon as he touched her, he should have been like, okay, like Space Girl's not in her, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna smack her around.
Yeah, like yeah, as soon as you got that one touch, you should know, okay, well, she's not our man. Like the vampire lady's gone. We got to move on. I guess she was reluctant to say who she body jumped into after that, which makes no sense. Like, why would this redhead not want to cooperate with these government officials?
And why is there no negative impact to her? Uh just from a physical standpoint of being body jumped into, I would assume that she would be emaciated as well.
Yeah,
That it would take life force for this to happen.
or at least
But
more like exhausted, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they go downstairs and they're like, hey, you got a patient here that has like a scar on his face. And Jean-Luc Picard's there, and he's like, yeah, he's got the mind of a 4-year-old and he used to kill kids or something. And they're like, let's go visit him because we think that he has something to do with the investigation. And at that point, Jean-Luc Picard puts his hand on Dwayne Barry.
Dun dun dun.
As soon, so they get there's like nurse, a male nurse, and he's like, yeah, this is like sodium pentothal
And morphine.
and morphine all mixed into one, and it makes people tired. And they're like, great, okay. And then they all pounce on Jean-Luc Picard and give him the dose, and they're like, he's Space Girl.
No, not you, Picard.
And Picard starts tweaking on the fucking floor
Yeah.
and flopping around. And I was like, okay, that's, I guess, whatever. And Dwayne Barry's like, yeah, he touched my shoulder and I was able to see into his mind that he's a girl.
Like was it just me, or was it weird to see who I now know as Jean-Luc Picard writhing around and screaming like a madman?
uh there's a couple like really just weirdish moments coming up with
Yeah.
Jean-Luc Picard because now they're about to like almost mind meld, if you will. Dwayne Barry's gonna mind meld with Picard to see where Space Girl's real body is so they could kill her, right?
Yeah, because I guess she's Picard. The vampire lady's in Picard, and he's all doped up, so like the mental barriers are kind of down, so he can Dwayne Barry can do his psychic thing and figure out where the body is.
And then so Dwayne Barry is talking to Picard, but Picard is talking as if he's Space Girl. So Picard's like, Dwayne, I want you. Why aren't we having sex? Essentially, he's like trying to come on to Dwayne Barry. At one point, Dwayne Barry and Picard kiss each other, which this is Picard's first on-screen kiss, is with Dwayne Barry from Star Trek.
And it's like it's awkward because it's really drawn out.
Yeah.
It's like as Dwayne Barry is interrogating the vampire lady through Picard's body, like he's getting closer and closer, like he's being slowly drawn in to the vampire lady's magnetism. But so it keeps like flipping back and forth between the lady laying in the hospital bed and Picard, like but those saying the same lines. And then when their lips finally meet, they switch back to Picard. It's like a bait and switch. You think he's gonna kiss what he thinks is the lady, but it's all of a sudden it's Picard.
And then like an explosion of energy happens, and then the nameless cop gets his neck broken.
Sucks to be that guy.
Dwayne Barry's like, I know where she's at. We need to get back to London. This has all been essentially a ruse to get us farther away from London.
Kind of a cool idea. I like the idea of the vampire lady giving like throwing misdirects out there to keep herself safe.
Honey Dick and Dwayne Barry with Picard.
Honey Dick. I love that phrase.
As they get into the chopper with Picard, they're flying away. They get a phone call from London, and it's Professor Exposition. And he's like, hey, I killed a fucking vampire with a piece of metal. That's how you kill vampires. But you don't stab them through the heart. You stab them through their life sac. That's just like 2 inches below their heart.
Like where it's like he stabs the one vampire in his office with like this weird sword spear thing
that came out of nowhere. What the fuck? I don't really get. Like Professor Exposition needs his own film.
Yeah, there should have been a whole like side film of him doing research, going to the library, finding out that there's a mystical artifact from last time the vampires came that ancient people used to kill them.
Because like he seems to have more things going on than Dwayne Barry and Colonel Kane at points.
Oh yeah. He's fighting, he's doing research, he's got a MacGuffin that he's doing, putting experiments on. He's got a whole thing going on.
But he's like, oh yeah, by the way, London's fucked. And you just see like there's like explosions and fire in the background, and everyone's dying in London. And then all of a sudden, Picard, the worst Picard dummy I've ever fucking seen, starts vomiting blood, and it starts assembling Space Girl in the helicopter. The pilot is fucking freaking out, and he almost crashes the helicopter.
It's such a cool effect. It's ruined by the bad dummies.
Yes.
It's like it reminded me of that scene in Prince of Darkness where Liquid Satan is like in a pool on the ceiling and it's like shooting into that lady's eyes and mouth.
Yep.
It's such a cool effect, but you're right. It's just comically bad Picard dummy, like rubber dummy. The eyes are like all like cross-eyed and askew. The hair looks like it was glued on by like hot glue. It just looks really bad.
It's very, yeah. As Dwayne Barry and Colonel Kane get up to London, we essentially it's like it it's like zombies, Ghostbusters, and a disaster film all in one. You see like streaks of life force going through the city, kind of like the ghosts being let loose from the containment unit in
Mm-hmm.
Ghostbusters. There's
100%.
now zombies just roaming the streets, eating people. And then there's just random explosions happening
Yeah.
constantly.
It really, this whole idea of it becoming like an epidemic and it, collapsing society like a zombie movie, it really came out of nowhere. Like
Yeah,
they were, while Dwayne Barry was off like, having, weird ghost kisses with Picard in the hospital, all of London is like descending into madness and we don't get to see any of it.
none of it. And but what we do see is a bunker with the prime minister who sucks the life force out of his secretary.
more awkward ghost kisses.
And then Dwayne Barry and Colonel Kane are like, "Fuck this," and they run away and they leave. And then there's like zombie military people after them, but they get away because they're the heroes and they don't run into any kind of conflict whatsoever.
No, these
Uh,
these these vampire zombies are really easy to get away from, apparently.
very. And then they land somewhere in London. And he's like, I'm Colonel Kane. I'm from the SAS. This is Dwayne Barry. He flew in a spaceship. Bring me to your leader. And then they just
Okay.
believe them. So I was like, okay,
No showing of credentials or a badge or anything. They
nothing.
just believe it.
And that's when they start becoming exposition machines, right? They're like,
Uh,
hey, there's a dick shaped spaceship up in outer space. There's space vampires down here. They're trying to suck all the life force out of everyone. But we need to figure out where they're at. If
oh,
these
that's right.
people
Yeah.
were smart, they would just go, look at the beam of bright blue light on
Yeah.
that building over there. I bet you there's something weird inside.
And it's not only just that building, it's fucking St. Paul's Cathedral.
Yeah.
Like one of the most recognizable architectural landmarks in London. Like,
Uh,
did no one think to check there?
it's so weird. And then what's even weirder though is that Dwayne Barry and Colonel Kane, somehow Dwayne Barry dips on Colonel Kane. He's like, I think she's at uh, London NASA. And then Colonel Kane's like, okay, let's go to London NASA. But then Dwayne Barry runs off to the cathedral.
Yeah, like, is it because they're skeptical at first? I don't. That's a good point. How does he give them the slip?
It cuts to Colonel Kane going, okay, let's go to London NASA. He's like, I'm gonna go get a car. And then when he comes back, Dwayne Barry's
He's just
gone.
gone. Yeah.
And then we get tense, I put that in finger quotes, scenes of them driving around London of they're getting attacked by zombies and zombie vampires, but because they're the main characters, absolutely nothing bad
No,
happens to
get
them
through unscathed.
whatsoever.
And these vampire zombies are like made out of like water balloons because
Yeah.
we get that scene from RoboCop where they drive through one of them and they just like, explode into goop on the windshield.
But it's not nearly as cool as RoboCop.
It's not. No.
I side note, I was terrified of when I was a kid falling into toxic waste
And turning into that guy in RoboCop.
and turning into that guy and then getting hit by a car.
Help me.
Exactly. Uh
That is a really terrifying thing for a kid.
Dwayne Barry goes to the cathedral and there's a naked woman waiting for her.
Hey.
Colonel
Oh,
Kane
yeah.
goes to British NASA and is Professor Exposition. And now he's a vampire somehow.
Yeah, it's not really clear. Like at this point, we know there's a tell. Like they look like whenever they're a vampire, they look really sweaty and nauseous. And
Yeah.
of course, he's wiping his head with a handkerchief. I guess maybe the male vampire got to him before he could deliver the life sack stab. I guess with the
It's
MacGuffin. I
it's
don't know.
so weird. But Colonel Kane grabs the Highlander sword. And then he makes a beeline to St. Paul's Cathedral. Uh, and Dwayne Barry is now inside St. Paul's Cathedral, and he's going up to Space Girl. She's on an altar with blue light surrounding. And
Yeah, more cool optical effects on this one.
I look at Jackie and I was like, I bet you they're gonna like bang. on this thing.
On
And
that
sure as
altar.
shit, they get naked and they start going at it like
Yeah,
rabbits.
like space rabbits.
It's like space rabbits. uh Colonel Kane is now in the he gets to St. Paul's Cathedral and now he needs to enter, obviously, because that's where the end of the movie is. And the last spaced male vampire shows up and he says some shitty line like, why don't you come up here?
It would be
It'll
less
be easier.
terrifying if you just come to me or something like that. Yeah.
And then Colonel Kane's like, okay, and then he charges at him with the with the fucking sword.
And just
Like
like goes right through him. And the vampire doesn't even defend himself. He just stands
nothing.
there and lets him get impaled by the MacGuffin Highlander sword.
There's no cool fight. There's nothing. It's just a shitty
No.
quip. As Colonel Kane gets inside of the church, he looks down into a hole and he sees Dwayne Barry and Space Girl going at it. I will say their form of sex is essentially Space Girl just licking Dwayne Barry's face. It's
Yeah.
so unappealing.
And again, her eyes are wide open. So
Yeah.
it's really more like she's just like eating his face.
It's like a dog, like when they lick your face and like salt. I'm not licking you because I love you. I'm licking you because your face tastes like salt.
Because there's peanut butter on your face.
Yeah. Like you eat like a slob.
I love the image of her licking his face like a Labrador retriever.
And then Dwayne Barry must come to the realization that, yeah, she's not really in love with him. And Colonel Kane tosses him the Highlander sword, in which he stabs her. All of a sudden, all the blue optical effects turn red.
Right.
They shoot up into space. They go inside the dick-shaped I can't think of the spaceship. They go inside the dicks. Yeah. And they get put into crystal coffins, and then the spaceship flies away. And Colonel Kane is looking up there, super confused, just like we are, because we get hit with the fucking credits. And there's really no resolution to the film.
Nope. Like at that point, I was thinking one of two things was going to and / needed to happen. One would have been the alien ship explodes.
Yes.
Because did that, okay, I guess her getting stabbed did nothing. They got away. That sucks. That needed to happen. Or they got away and we needed like an epilogue where what's his name says, I think they got away, but they'll be back with Haley's Comet in 75 years.
Something like that.
Like
yeah.
Some kind of foreshadowing, like, yeah, they're still out there. Like I saw them get stabbed, but I don't know. I think they're still out there. I got a bad feeling. Some kind of like either firm resolution of them blowing up the ship or some kind of sequel bait, but nothing. It just did credits.
Did you know that Jean-Luc Picard stated that Tobe Hooper was his favorite director to work with?
What?
Yeah.
When did he say that? Like while he was doing press junkets for the movie?
I don't know. It's just in the trivia. And this is one of the three. This is the first in Tobe Hooper's 3-movie deal with the Cannon Group. He also does another movie called Invaders from Mars and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Of course.
In post-production, they had to add optical shading effects to Matilda May to avoid an X rating.
What, to like cover up her crotch or something?
I'm assuming so. That apparently during the stairs scene, they had to shade some stuff.
Oh, where she was confronting those stupid chud guards with cookies. Oh my god!
Cookies?
There's two. Remember we were just talking about how she was licking what's his face like a dog?
Yeah.
Remember earlier on he was luring her with the cookie like a dog.
There you go.
She actually is a golden retriever in a naked lady suit.
She's a space vampire golden retriever in a naked lady suit.
Cookie is my one weakness. Blah.
The movie was one of the most expensive that Canon created. $25 million was
Oh yeah.
devoted to the budget of this film. Greg, what's the gross worldwide return on this film?
Oh no. The fact
What
that
do you
you're
think it
asking
is?
me means it's shamefully low. I'm gonna guess 1 million.
Well, not that low. 11 million. It didn't even make half of its
Ooh,
budget back.
that's a
Ooh,
shame. I mean, the money really shows. Like
brutal.
the effects in this one, while they're not like state of the art for 1985, they fit the style really well and they're charming. As much as we were ragging on the ship, like there was some design work put in there. It's unique and kind of detailed. There's lots to this that make it look expensive. And I mean, it doesn't deserve to be put in the same category as other canon movies. I don't think.
It is definitely there's a lot of effort in this film.
Yeah.
A
Not by
lot.
not by maybe Tobe Hooper, but the people who did the special effects, the animatronics, the optical effects, everything that went on, all of the visual elements, they deserve a lot of credit.
The film was shot in Britain. It was scheduled for 17 weeks, but it actually took them 22 weeks to film. And instead of getting upset, the Canon people were ecstatic and kept telling Toby to keep going. I guess they weren't looking at the dailies.
I would say they were interesting. Okay. I guess they weren't looking that hard. I mean,
The initial cut. Oh, God.
maybe they were just looking at the special effects shots, like, wow, that looks great, and not thinking about the movie as a whole or
I
reading the
don't know.
script or anything. Who knows?
The initial cut was 128 minutes, and 12 minutes were excised from the film. The Blu-ray that I have actually has the extended cut in it, which apparently contains more graphic violence and nudity.
Hmm. Is that so? I watched this on Shudder. I'm assuming that was the abbreviated version.
Yep.
Okay. I would be interested enough to watch it again to see the extended cut if it adds anything.
According to Bill Malin, who plays one of the male vampires, the film went over schedule and over budget, which means a lot of the male vampire scenes were just simply never shot.
Mm. Well, maybe that, yeah. So we kept talking about how it would be cool to see them have that magnetism on women or other men for that matter. Then maybe that was something that got put on the chopping block.
The film opened up against another alien film, Greg, Ron Howard's Cocoon, which is about a bunch of old people living in a retirement home that get younger. I don't know. I've never seen Cocoon.
I've never seen Cocoon either. Yeah.
I know Wilford Brimley's in it. That movie made $85 million on a $17 million budget. It's the superior film.
Because that one had a couple sequels too, didn't it?
It did. Oh. Which, Greg, I'm just going off the cuff here. I think we should do other similar movies and watch Cocoon next.
And compare to Lifeforce.
Lifeforce.
I would see that. Yeah. Let's plan to do that because I'm interested to see how these are okay. They're clearly contemporaries. I love Wilford Brimley.
Let's compare the space vampire alien film to the family-friendly old people alien film.
Clearly in the same genre.
Lifeforce didn't get horrible reviews. It has a 59% currently on Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus reads, it's brazenly strange and uneven in its execution. Lifeforce is an otherworldly sci-fi excursion punctuated with off-kilter horror flourishes. I can kind of get behind that.
Yeah, I definitely found it hard to pin down in terms of genre. Like, I wouldn't call it a horror, but it's a little more horrific than a regular sci-fi movie. But there's like the weird psychic elements to it. It's almost, there's like fantasy trappings too. It's hard to categorize.
It is. It tries to be a lot when it should have just focused on a little bit, right?
Yeah, it definitely seems like a wasted opportunity because I think overall I really like that concept of there being like space vampires that are the source of like real vampire myths on Earth, and they come creeping around every 75 years by like they like hang out in the orbit of Halley's Comet, and they just like ride that around the solar system and come back every 75 years to feed. That's such a cool like sci-fi fantasy like mashup concept, but it just it doesn't execute here. I would love to see that get remade at some point.
I would, and it would be great if it was remade. If this, okay, let me take a breath because obviously I'm tripping over my words here. The
Spin me a
movie
yarn.
should have been a boner comedy in the 80s.
Oh my god. Get the fuck out
Vampire
here.
aliens trailing behind Haley's Comet. Hey, dude, we need to stop and get a snack. What's the closest planet? Earth. And then they go to like California, right? And there's like the hot chick, and there's like a couple cool guy vampires, and they're just like, oh man, look at this place. A lot of tubes to ride, a lot of like veins to snack on. And it's just like you get the cool boner comedy friends that are like humans, right? You get like Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you get like
you need like a fat vampire who's like he drinks too much blood, and
he drinks too much blood.
He's got some horrible like denigrating name like blood blimp.
Oh man, blood blimp ate 2 bodies tonight.
Blood blimp.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my god, I hate it so much.
But I wouldn't secretly love it.
I wouldn't put it past the 80s to make a boner comedy about space like stoner vampires.
I would watch that movie every day.
Oh my gosh.
2.5 out of 5.
2.5 for you. This was a movie that started off for me as like a 4 because I was into how weird and unique it was in the first third, but when it started to drag in the middle and then the shit ending, it's down to 3.5 for me. I still had a good time watching this, as much as we like picked it apart, while we were talking about it. I was not bored at all, and I thought it was again weird and interesting enough that I was more disappointed than I was annoyed by it. I'll say that.
I'll get behind that sentiment. I'll get behind that for sure.
There's just so much to like about the animatronics, the visuals. Like there were a lot of wide angle lenses, like the way they shot it. I know you mentioned the camera doesn't move as much as it should, but there were a lot of like weird angles, and they tried for a style here, and I can respect that. And there was enough that did look cool and get executed well that I can appreciate it. Again, I would love to see this get a second shot with another like a decent budget and a good director
with a competent script
and a good script, like streamline it down a little bit, like maybe lean more into the sci-fi or lean more into the horror. But it's just such a cool idea that I would love to see it get a fair shake.
I agree. This is prime pickings for a remake.
Yeah, I mean that's I'm sure it would come cheap, the rights to it, unless it's like tied up in someone's estate in a weird way. But come on, Netflix, buy that shit.
Do your thing.
Do that thing you do.
So what have you been watching? Have you watched anything? What's the notable thing that you've watched this week?
So a couple things. We did watch Poltergeist the other day, and I was kind of for 2 things. Like one, I wanted to watch it because it's getting close to Halloween time. I was gonna save it for October, but I knew that we were watching Lifeforce. So I was like, okay, let's watch Poltergeist and maybe like compare and contrast 2 Tobe Hooper movies. Boy, are they not even. I mean, I've seen Poltergeist a couple times, but it's not even in the same ballpark. Like those ILM effects.
It's a Spielberg film.
Yeah. Again, going back to that, like I was for a long time, I was giving Tobe Hooper the benefit of the doubt, but after seeing these 2 side by side, I just can't. There was more going on in Poltergeist that I can't give him enough credit for. So, but no, I mean Poltergeist. There's what's left to say that it hasn't already been said. It's a classic. It's a weird like horror family film.
Yep.
It's hard. It's another one of those things that's hard to put in a genre bucket, but damn, that scene where all of the bodies start creeping up out of the like the mud in the backyard just scares the shit out of me every time I see it. It's so creepy, so well executed.
It's so great.
Yeah.
So great.
And the other thing is I'm still on that kung fu kick from seeing
Nice.
Shang-Chi. So
Nice.
I finally sat down and watched Drunken Master, the original Jackie Chan, like his first big movie. It's I mean, it's the fighting, of course, is amazing, but it's really obvious to me why Jackie Chan became like such a huge star, because he just has such great charisma in that movie. Like he's got fighting chops, but also just great comedy chops too. His facial expressions and like physical comedy is just it's amazing. Like it was cool to see him before he was famous. It was weird seeing him dubbed. That was a little odd.
Right? Yeah. That one, yeah. I agree. It's weird seeing him dubbed because very
Yeah.
rarely does that ever happen. But
Yeah, because we're used to seeing like Rush Hour and even some of the later ones where like he dubbed himself on the English versions.
yeah.
But no, it's great. I mean, if you liked Shang-Chi and you're like interested in dipping into more like classic kung fu movies, I know we talked about Master of the Flying Guillotine last time. I would say start with Drunken Master. It's extremely approachable, and the fights are awesome.
Nice.
Check it out.
I
What about
watched
you?
two notable films. I watched Surf 2, the end of a trilogy. It's a Vinegar Syndrome release. Um, I I loved it. I thought it was really funny. It's 10% boner comedy and like 90% airplane type humor.
Which is you and I were chatting about that the other day. I'm surprised to hear, like, usually those kind of movies are either really good or really bad. I'm happy to hear that this one was good.
This one was pretty funny. Jackie wasn't too interested in it, and then at the end, she was like, "I would really want you to rewatch that because that actually was funny in parts, and I want to like essentially sit down and watch the entire thing."
And like appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and then this morning I watched another Vinegar Syndrome release. The oh shit, I can't even think. It's from the Cardona box set that came out. It's like Searching the Amazon. It's an adventure
Okay.
movie. They're looking for diamonds in the Amazon. It was good. I'll say that like the ending made me chuckle quite a bit.
In a
Uh
good way or bad way.
in a good way. And
Okay.
but again, if you're squeamish about female nudity, almost every woman is topless in this movie the entire time
Oh.
because they're in the Amazon, right?
Oh God. So
So
it was like, were they like indigenous Amazon
yes,
women? Oh,
but
that's so
they're
shameless.
they're all. It's weird because they're like we're in the Amazon, but they're all clearly Hispanic, right? Like because it's a Hispanic production and stuff. So everyone is clearly from Mexico, except for the two or three American actors that they have in the
Who
film.
stick out like crazy, I'm sure.
Yes. But it was fun. It was kind of like the adult version of Jungle Cruise because a lot of it takes place on the water and seeing animals and stuff like that. So
Oh
uh,
geez. Was there any like cannibal holocaust level animal cruelty in this one?
there was no animal cruelty, but they made animals
Oh, that's
seem
good.
extremely cruel in the film. I'll say that.
Okay.
Essentially, like any animal has the ability to kill a grown human being. It was pretty funny.
That's pretty good. When sloths attack.
I will say, I'll say this because I would want you to watch it. Little crabs. Little crabs.
Ooh. I'll let my imagination chew on that one for a little bit.
What was the quote of the week this week?
So this was another case where I was a little worried that I wasn't gonna find one because is not good as the script was, there wasn't anything like overtly funny and stupid
There wasn't.
until the very end. When Dwayne Barry and Space Girl are, like floating in midair banging in St. Paul's Cathedral at the very end there, and we get this stupid line from Dwayne Barry. He says, "What are these feelings? Why do I feel so close to you? Why do I need you?" And she says, "Because you're one of us. You always have been. You're like me. Be with me." It's what the hell does that even mean?
What are these feelings? Why do I feel so close to you? Need you?
Because you're one of us. You always have been. You're like me. Be with me.
I don't know. It's such a weird line.
And Dwayne Barry, he kind of like stumbles over his words a little bit. So like I rewound it and listened to it a couple times, but just the way he says, "What are these feelings?" We'll play it right now.
It honestly does sound like it's a mistake.
Right? Like that, like if it kind of makes sense when you mentioned that they were going over budget and over schedule. Like maybe they just were rushing to get that scene done, and that was the best take that they got out of them.
That would be shameful.
What are these
I'll
feelings,
say.
Phil?
It's so, yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
Why do I like this movie? Why do I need it?
Why am I watching this crap?
Why am I buying the Blu-ray to watch the director's cut?
I know. Jackie, because I bought the movie. Jackie was like, "Do you regret it?" I was like, "Nah, I'll be interested in watching the director's cut." And this is something that's like that you can put on while you get prepared for the like a real horror movie, right? Like you just need to ease into October.
Yeah. See, I'm glad you brought that up. Like this movie defies categorization so much. Like I like to watch movies throughout the year because they kind of fit with a season or a holiday or some kind of like a memory or a nostalgia or something. Like there's definitely like a calendar element to the way I rewatch movies. I don't know when Lifeforce would fit in because it's not really a Halloween movie, but it's not a summer blockbuster like sci-fi adventure. I don't know when that would fit in my movie calendar. I don't know about you. Maybe that's just me, but
no, I get what you're saying. It's not quite a vampire movie. It's not quite this. It's not quite that. It wants to be a lot of things, but it fails at almost anything.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
Aside from maybe wanting to watch the director's cut, I'm not sure when I would want to rewatch this movie. What mood I would be in. I don't know.
It's I'm home alone. I need some sound in the background to deter people from breaking in and making it sound like there's more people here.
And instead make them think that there's naked space vampires in your house.
Someone like breaks in, they're like, "Whoa, boobs." Like, yeah.
Whoa, and they're distracted long enough for you to hit them over the head.
You're just like, if you sit down, it's the entire film.
What are these feelings? God, I gotcha.
What are these feelings, guy, that I broke into his house?
This feeling is a crowbar on your neck.
Exactly. Oh classic. Man. Oh, do you have anything else to?
No, I think that's what I wanted to say. Just come to me. So you asked about other viewing. This wasn't something that I was going to mention, but I was Googling right before we started the episode about what else Space Girl was in, Matilda May. She was in a movie. I'm not sure if you remember this, an action movie from the mid-90s called The Jackal.
That had like Bruce Willis or something, right?
Bruce Willis, Richard Gere, another really famous guy who's like the FBI chief. I forget his name. A lot of people. And it just so happened that I had rewatched that on, I think it's like on Peacock or something like that. I was just skimming through their video catalog. I ended up watching it because it's a serviceable enough action movie. But Matilda May is in that movie. She's like Richard Gere's old, old buddy from the Irish Resistance or something like that. I just thought it was so weird because she hasn't been in a whole lot. And I thought it was just weird that I happened to watch this other major movie that she was in like 2 weeks ago.
For it to like happen. Yeah, that is kind of weird.
It's kind of a weird coincidence. So
you're like pulling out your hair. She's got clothes on.
What the? I don't like it. Because like she looked kind of familiar, but like when I looked her up at first, like I had to go down the list a little bit. It's like she's not been in much. I must be just going crazy, but no, in The Jackal of all things, like kind of a forgettable action movie from the 90s. Who knew?
Man, Bruce Willis has got it all, doesn't he? Matilda May.
Go check out The Jackal because it's probably a better movie than Lifeforce.
Probably. It's been a long time since I've seen The Jackal. It would be something to rewatch though. But we're both gonna watch a Ron Howard film that we've never seen before, and I'm not talking about Solo. I actually like Solo. I don't get
Yeah.
why Ron Howard gets shit for that
It doesn't
one.
deserve the hate. It's a perfectly serviceable. It's not like top tier Star Wars quality, but it's a
It's
perfectly
better
good
than
movie.
8. It's better than 9.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to give it that. Ron Howard, you can go middle of the road. You
There you
can
go.
save something that could have been trash.
Well, the next film is the 1985 sci-fi fiction comedy drama film Cocoon. Shot in and around St. Petersburg, Florida, which you're going to be visiting soon.
Woo.
Cocoon focuses the tagline for it is when a group of trespassing seniors swim in a pool containing alien cocoons, they find themselves energized with youthful vigor.
These cocoons look like turds, Bob.
I just
Oh my god.
I can't wait to see all the old fucking people in this movie.
This is gonna be another one where it's just like a lot of actor, like big actors from the 40s and 50s who are way past their prime, and all they could get was a cheesy alien movie.
Stuff like that. I'm gonna assume like I can't get boner jokes. Just like probably like the lowest of the low. And it's gonna be great, and we're gonna watch the shit out of it.
I fully expect Wilford Brimley to do his thing from The Thing, where he like goes crazy. I want to be us.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
Oh, quick note. The Thing came out on 4K. I went to a fucking Best Buy to get it because it had a nice steelbook edition. It was sold out. I went on the Best Buy website. It says that there's not a copy of that for 250 miles. Best Buy, this is why you're going out of business. You suck.
Sons of bitches. I should have known that would have been like swooped in and gobbled up by collectors who want to resell it.
Garbage.
God damn it.
Bunch of losers.
Anyways,
if you like what
on that angry note.
Well, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, give us some constructive criticism on how we can make this podcast more enjoyable to you. You can follow us on TikTok at That's Canon Podcast. You can email us at thatscanon@gmail.com. You can like, subscribe, comment down below, hit that bell for notifications on YouTube for That's Canon. I think we're like 10 viewers away from actually being able to get youtube.com/That's Canon.
Hooray.
And remember, since we said it,
that's canon.